I can all but guarantee this video is going to stir the pot. Folks, today I want to talk about snitching, and more importantly, is what I just recently did going to the police to press charges on Bryan. Considered that. Would you consider what I did to be snitching? And I know that there is a lot of people who feel like that is what I did. What I did is considered snitching. Not only are we going to talk about snitching and if what I did is considered that, I mean, I'm giving you my opinion. You guys can disagree or agree with me and let me know down in the comment sections whether you do or you don't. Not only are we going to be talking about all of that, folks, I'm also going to be giving you more of an update on Joe working with the police in relation to what's going on with Bryan and the charges that I've pressed on him. So there's a lot that we're going to be doing in this video, and I want to go ahead and just get right into it. When all of this took place with Bryan and I had to figure out what I was going to do, how do I best address this situation outside of making videos about it, because we make videos about everything. You know, I had to have a very real conversation with myself and ask myself, am I going to go to the police? Am I going to go file charges on this dude knowing full good and well that this could be perceived as snitching? And not only was I having this conversation with myself, I was having this conversation with others. Rabbit, Jellicoe, Dave, my wife, my family. You know, I'm not just like some average Joe. And I don't mean this to be like, you know, I'm a celebrity or anything. I know that, never mind. I'm not even going to try to make any jokes about this. But what I do mean by not being an average Joe is, you know, I'm a dude with a prison YouTube channel. I'm a dude who has been to prison. I'm, you know, to some degree, a convict. And I don't even like that word because I feel like convict makes it sound like some sort of a tough guy. I'm an ex-con. I'm a felon. There's a convict code. We've heard that a time or two. There's a code of the streets. I'm not in the streets anymore. And again, there's only about two different ways that you can look at this. Either what I did is considered snitching or what I did is the right thing to do. Well, as we go ahead and dive into this topic, what exactly is snitching? You know, I want to address that first and foremost, and let's use the internet to try to help us out with that. Snitching definition. Wow.
Snitch.
I thought you were going to read the definition. According to Google, snitch has two different meanings. It means to either steal. That's actually the very first definition. I didn't know snitch meant steal. Hey, yo, you just snitched that loaf of bread right there. That don't sound right. But the second definition is to inform on someone. They even use the word in a sentence saying, she wouldn't tell who snitched on me. So there's not a lot of information right there. I mean, of course, when you think about what it means to snitch, you're telling on somebody. But let's look what else they got, because it says people also asked what is considered snitching. This ought to be interesting right here. Any communication or information to authorities that could result in the arrest or conviction of a person considered a criminal. So any information that you tell to the authorities that results in the arrest of somebody considered a criminal, I don't know about that last part, but that first part, they're saying that anytime that you talk to the police, you a snitch. And I'm going to be honest with you. And maybe it's only because of the fact that I'm the one who did what I did in relation to Bryan. I don't agree with that. And after having conversations with numerous people, there are people who have begun to see, well, or at least begun to agree with my line of thinking. Maybe these people, well, for example, Jellicoe and Rabbit were two people who were kind of on the fence about whether it was considered snitching or not what I did. But I'm not in the streets anymore. And I'm not out here in the drug game or, you know, I'm not doing illegal things. So that was one way to look at it. Well, you know, it would be different if you was in the game, and you told on somebody. What I'm doing is legitimate. I'm trying to conduct legitimate business. But even more than that, you know, me personally, when I think of snitching, and this is not on the internet, and you may agree or disagree with this, but when I think of what it means to be a snitch, you know, I think about somebody who's gotten in trouble, and in an effort to spare themselves, they implicate somebody else entirely in an effort to get some sort of a deal or plea agreement or time cut. That's the first thing that I think about in relation to what it means to be a snitch. Second thing that I think of is somebody who is just going to tell on somebody out of spite or greed or envy or jealousy, I think about the movie Belly. And this is like a hood classic. A lot of you have probably seen this movie. There's probably some who haven't. It's got Nas in it. It's got a lot of people in this movie. I think Method Man's in this movie. And there's a scene in this movie when these dudes are out there in the streets driving by in they nice car. And there's another dude who's standing on the corner eating a banana. And he's like the local dealer, and they're the guys coming from out of town. And what the guy eating the banana says, the local guy says, oh, we about to drop dime on these dudes. Because, you know, they're in his way. And maybe there's some greed and jealousy and envy there. You know, I hope that I'm painting the picture the right way. You know, I consider that to be snitching. When you're just doing something out of spite. Now, I know even mentioning that, there's going to be some people who think to themselves, well, Joe, isn't what you did telling on Bryan something that you did out of spite because you were mad at him for what he did? No, I'm not looking at it like that. I didn't do this out of spite. I did this because this was what the right thing to do was. I wasn't going to let this man get away with this crime and these crimes that he committed against me and against my property. He stole from me. He basically robbed me. So I had every right, or at least I feel this way. I feel like I had every right to go to the police. And even trying to explain it that way, you know, I know that there's going to be people who are like, no, Joe, it doesn't matter. You a snitch. And you know what? If you feel that way, like I can't change. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I wanted to address this video because I think that there is a big misconception between, you know, doing the right thing and considering the right thing to be snitching. I think that there's a line that has to be drawn between the two. It might be a fine line. They might be like right here next to each other. But I think that there is a difference. You know, if somebody does something to you, if they steal from you, if they hurt one of your family members, what are you going to do? Of course, there's going to be people who say, man, I'm going to hold court in the street. I'm going to handle that like a real G. I'm not no G. Never claimed to be. I'm not a gangster. I'm a dude who, yes, I served time, served a boatload of time. I'm also a dude with a pretty large prison YouTube channel. So I know that the confusion, I don't know what I'm trying to say right there. I've got a migraine as I'm filming this. But it's easier to say what you would do versus thinking about what you actually do or what you're going to do when you're in the situation. You know, I could say all day long that, oh, I'm going to hold court in the street. Yeah, I'm going to handle that. But I know damn well that I'm not. I'm not even going to sit here and act like I would do that to try to make myself sound like something that I'm not. I don't want to go back to jail because that's a very real possibility of what could happen if you try to go about it that route. If somebody steals something from you, are you willing to risk your freedom going and trying to fight that person or do something even worse because of the crime that they committed against you? Because essentially what you would be doing is committing a crime yourself. The police don't care. Oh, so you're telling me the reason why you went and beat this guy up is because he stole your Xbox. You know what? Hey, Billie Jean, go ahead and take the handcuffs off that man. He was justified. The police don't care about that. They ain't gonna look at that at all. You're going to jail too. And what I consider it is, it's almost like a sinking ship. When somebody does something wrong, they're a sinking ship. And you know what happens a lot of times with a sinking ship? They be trying to stay above the water, grasping at straws, grasping at anything. And a lot of times what they're doing as they're trying to grasp for something is they're trying to grab onto your leg and bring you down too. And I'd be damned if I was going to let that happen with this situation. Of course I was mad when this happened. I think I was more hurt than I was mad. And I wasn't even hurt like, damn, Bryan, I can't believe like you did this to me. I was more hurt with myself like, damn, Joe, you is dumb. You fell for the oldest trick in the book. The I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll go get that HVAC. I'm going to be right back. You know, in life, when you're doing the right thing and when you're trying to do the right thing, sometimes the right thing to do is going to be the hardest thing you ever do. Gay Dave told us that one time, a long time ago. And it was in relation to sobriety. And it's funny how that correlates with this situation and topic right here. You know, sometimes the right thing to do is going to be the thing that you don't want to do, the thing that's the most uncomfortable for you. But you got to do the right thing. Because if you don't, like, well, then what? And let's just say hypothetically, when this situation took place, I didn't do nothing. Well, what does that make me look like? I feel like if I don't do nothing, then one, I let you get away with what you've done to me, something that I know that you've done to so many others, and I'm not trying to be some sort of a vigilante citizens arrest type of a person here. Let's just keep this completely about the crimes that were committed against yours truly. I'm not going to let you get away with that because I know damn well, had I done it to somebody else, what they going to do? Or had you done it to somebody else, what are they going to do? They're going to call the police and they're going to put charges on you because that's what people do. The only time people hold court for real is in Grand Theft Auto. Maybe Call of Duty. I mean, I don't honestly know. Red Dead Redemption. Hell, this shit ain't a video game. Okay, and it's not a movie. And it's not some fairy tale make-believe gangster persona BS. This is real life. And even though I know that it's crazy that Joe from AfterPrisonShow turned out to be the police for real, what some people might think, I'm okay with that. Because I know that at least I'm doing what I need to do for me. And I know that hopefully I'm showing other people the right way to go about when the wrong thing happens. There's my justification. Now, with all of that being mentioned right there, let's go ahead and move on to the second part of all of this. And that is, a major update in relation to this police situation, these charges involving Bryan. Bryan, I know you're watching this right here. You're not going to like what you're about to hear, but you probably already know what's going on. Actually, you know better than anybody what's probably going on. So as I think about what the last thing I shared with you in relation to all of this was, I've been doing it vlog style, like going to police stations. We went to Chesapeake. Chesapeake beat us around the bush, sent us to Portsmouth, and Portsmouth didn't really work out too well for us neither. And basically where you guys were last left at was that it seemed like this dude had gotten away with what he did. Joe basically snitched for nothing. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you that I wasn't going to go out like that. And if I was going to be considered Joe Kashi 6'9", I was taking this thing all the way. So, since filming that last video, should have had the violin track. I don't know if the violin track was actually playing when I was like, damn, dude, you got away. You got away. If I didn't, I should have. But since filming that, I'm not the type of person who's going to just let you get away with this when I know full good and well what you did was a crime. It's a totally different video, a totally different topic idea. Was what you did considered to be civil or criminal? Maybe we can address a little bit of that as we continue with this. After Portsmouth police told me that they basically couldn't do anything, they'd never really heard about construction fraud, they didn't really know how to deal with it, I did feel defeated, I'm not going to lie. Those were true emotions that I was showing to you guys. Damn, dude, you's about to get away. And real quick, let me share with you this picture right here. Also, this is taken right after I've walked out of the police station feeling defeated. Look at that facial expression right there that I'm rocking. You can see that the wind has been completely taken out of my sails. I feel like you got away. Well, I'm here to let you know that that would only be short-lived because it would only be the next day or a couple of days later where I would end up going to the magistrate's office. Now, I know about the magistrate's office from back in my younger days when old Joe was young Joe and I was getting in all sorts of trouble. And I remember there was a chick who took out charges on me for making threatening phone calls. She had made me mad and I said, yo, beep, 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 sounded like the Road Runner, all those censor sound effects. And I remember she told me she was going to press charges on me. I didn't believe her. I called her maybe the next day and she said, hey, guess where I am? And I said, where? Disney World? She said, no, I'm in the magistrate's office. I'm pressing charges on you right now. Yes, his last name is G-U-E Adado. So I was taking a script from a chapter of my life that I'd been through. And I said, maybe we can go down to I can go down to the magistrate's office and I can just press these charges myself. Maybe I don't even need a beat cop or the police. I can just do this myself. So that would be the next move that I would make. And guess what? Spoiler alert to all of that, that didn't work neither. I go to the magistrate's office. I have to ring the bell, tell them why I'm there. I tell them, hey, I'm here to press charges. A woman comes out. She asks me what happens. I tell her everything. I'm wearing the Bryan hoodie at that time. She's like, okay, so somebody stole your HVAC unit. Is that the guy right there? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. She asked me how much money was involved. I told her it was probably close to $3,000, $2,800 as a matter of fact. That was the total figure that I was able to come up with thanks to the detectives. We're about to get to that. But she said because of the amount of money, there was nothing that she could do. It was too much money. You could only file misdemeanors, I believe she told me at the magistrate's office. So here I am. More deflation is about to take place. Deflategate in Joe Kashi 6ix9ine's saga is what we're dealing with currently. She said, there's nothing that I can do. You need to go around the corner to the police department. I said, hey, look, I've already been there. And they told me that there was nothing that they could do. So I felt like I was just getting ran around in a big circle. And I really was feeling like, there was going to be nothing that I could do about this. She was also mentioning, the magistrate was, you could go file a civil suit on this guy. And I didn't believe that to be right. And in fact, I had done some research on suing an individual. And one of the biggest things that popped up was, you don't sue somebody who doesn't have assets. There's nothing to sue for. You're never going to recoup what you've lost. And even pressing charges, I'm never going to recoup what I've lost neither. Maybe through restitution, I will. But, justice will be served one way or another. And I'm going to be just as happy to watch you sit it down for a little while because that's what you deserve to do, truth being told. I tell the nice woman at the magistrate's office that I've already talked with the police. They told me that there was nothing that they could do. And then she says, well, maybe you ought to try to talk to a detective. And I felt like this was going to be like trying to pull teeth. She gave me a number to the detective's bureau. And I said, okay, I'm going to try to call them. I left from the magistrate's office, got back in my squeaking ass truck and called the detective's office. I spoke to the woman who answered the phone. She said, Detectives Bureau, how can I help you? I told her the story. She said, are you sure this is not a civil matter? I said, hey, look, can you please just put me on the phone with a detective? She says, well, you need to go file a police report. I said, I've already done that. Yo, it is hard to snitch on somebody, if that's what you want to call it. I said, I've already done that. They told me that there was nothing that they could do. I said, can I just please speak to a detective? And maybe it was the tone of my voice, the desperation in my voice, but for whatever reason, the woman put me on hold and she said, hold on, let me see if I can get somebody on the line for you. This is where everything took a major turn for the better in terms of what we were trying to accomplish. A detective would answer the phone, he would introduce himself to me, I would tell him the story, I tell him the story of what happened. And he asked me if I could come down and give a statement. I'm being asked by a detective to give a statement to the police. Are we sure this isn't snitching? I tell him, hey, look, I'm already down there because I'm at the magistrate's office and where you guys are, you're right around the corner. I've already looked you up. So he says, okay, great, come on down. He says, look, and this is what he tells me on the phone. This was really, really interesting. He tells me that in the city of Portsmouth, there's only one fraud investigating detective, and it's him. And he says he's been doing this for decades. Said that he's retired twice and keeps getting called to come back because there's nobody else who is doing this. Or maybe there's nobody else who is as good as he is. When I'm on the phone with this guy, he's looking up Bryan and he's like, oh, this guy's got a long history. So I go down to the Detectives Bureau and they put me in this room. They let me go right into the back and they put me in this room. And the first thing that, I think about as I'm walking through this door into the back offices of this Detectives Bureau is, I've never even seen one of these except for twice. Once in real life when I was getting interrogated back when I was 18 years old for a robbery charge, and I was in an interrogation room. And then the second time is only every time that I watched the first 48 when you're back there in the Detectives Bureau. So I really don't have a lot of experience back in a place like this. And it's crazy because they don't put me in an interrogation room. I'm the victim in this matter. They put me in the conference room. And the conference room sort of looks like the situation room. Like it looks like a very important room. And as I'm sitting in there waiting for them to come in there, they say, go have a seat in here. I think to myself, how many times all of the detectives or the jump out police or, the task forces have sat in here preparing to go try to nab somebody for a warrant or, somebody wanted for something pretty crazy. I was thinking about that. The detective would come in, I would share the story of what took place, how much money was involved, and, they would tell me that not a lot of police are familiar with construction fraud or fraud altogether. And a lot of them get confused or don't really know that it can go either way. It can go criminal or it can go civil. And I believe the detective told me it's all about which way, the victim decides to pursue it. And I said, well, I've already looked up how to pursue this. And again, because if a person doesn't have any assets, it's pointless to sue. I tell them everything, and they tell me that there's one final thing that I need to do before they can pursue 3 warrants. That's what they're going to do. There's 3 warrants that are going to be filed for Bryan's arrest. There was one final thing that I needed to do, and that was I needed to send Bryan a certified letter, basically demanding that I be refunded the money that he took for services that were not fully rendered, and also for items that were stolen or never existed in the first place. And that grand total was $2,800. And I've got Cash App receipts to verify all of that. So on that very same day, I would end up going and writing a letter. I haven't wrote a letter in God knows how long. I had to write a letter to Bryan. And I was thinking about it too as I was in the detective's bureau in the situation room as they were telling me to write this letter. I was like, basically, I could probably say whatever I want to say. Hey, guess what? Guess what, Bryan? You've got 15 days because according to the law, construction fraud, you have to send somebody a certified letter and give them 15 days to return to you the money. And I was thinking I could write this any which way that I wanted to, but I didn't. I just wrote this as formally as I possibly could. Bryan, you got 15 days to return to me $2,800 for X, Y, and Z. If you do not return this money to me in 15 days, warrants will be secured for your arrest. And I sent that letter probably about a week ago. And they told me, send them verification that I did that. And then on the 15th day, bada bing, bada boom, they're going to file and issue the warrants. That's the update. There are no warrants for your arrest just yet, Bryan, but most certainly probably will be. I want to let all of you guys know this. I ain't proud of this. This doesn't make me feel good. I know I've said that before. I never would have ever wanted this to go this way. I never want to go to the police on anybody. That's like, it just don't feel right. Don't feel right. Like, what if I go back to prison for something? God, I hate to think about that. Like I said earlier, in life, there are certain times, there's going to be times when you got to do things that you don't want to do, but they're the right thing to do. And like Dave had said in the past, sometimes the right thing to do is the hardest thing to do. And that's how I feel about all of this. And no matter how you feel about me, whether I'm Joe Kashi 6'9", Joe you the police, or Joe you did the right damn thing, I did what I felt like I had to do. I damn sure weren't about to hold court in the street. That ain't worth it. And, really, there ain't no good answer or solution to any of this. But it is what it is. And I will be damned if I'm going to let you get away with stealing from me and essentially robbing me. And I just hope that by me sharing all of this with you guys, if anybody ever finds themselves in a situation similar to this, that you remember what I did and you consider doing the same, because it is the right thing to do. I truly believe that. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like or dislike and a comment. And let me know exactly what you guys thought about all of this. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace!